Working on a 2016 Dodge Charger RT with a 5.7 Hemi. We're about to do an oil change. And of course, manufacturers recommend 520 motor oil. The user's guide explains, and if you actually open it to maintaining your vehicle, you'll see that we recommend API certified say 520 oil. This book also includes the 3.6 and the Hellcat, but today we are primarily working on the 5.7, and this vehicle holds 7 quarts of oil. So ensure when you go drop in the oil from the oil drain plug, which is a 13 millimeter, you have a container large enough to catch 7 quarts of oil. There's a splash guard underneath the vehicle. 10 millimeter is what is needed to remove those screws. Drain plug, of course, 13 millimeter. But we use, now you can choose however oil filter you want, but we use K&N, and K&N actually has a wrench deal on the bottom of the oil filter, and the surprising thing is an oil pressure sending unit socket fits it nicely. So that's why we have it out here today. So we're gonna go ahead and jack the vehicle up, place it on the proper jack stands, and get started. All right, went ahead and jacked the Charger up and placed the jack stands in the proper lifting points. Went ahead and got everything ready. And we got the fabulous Cassi putting on her gloves, of course, as she's the technician today on doing the oil change on her car. So underneath the Dodge Charger, we have a splash guard. And the splash guard is held by 10 millimeter screws. Of course, manufacturer has arrows imprinted in the actual cover itself to tell you exactly where to remove the screws so the splash guard can actually pop out. We got 1, 2, 3, and 4. So after remove those, that'll expose the oil pan, drain plug, and the oil filter, in which we'll be able to go ahead and start the removal of the old engine oil. So we're gonna go ahead and let her finish that up and then move to the next step. Got the splash guard removed. That exposes your oil pan and your oil filter. The oil drain pan plug is 13 millimeter. 7 quarts of oil is gonna come out along with this filter. So we're gonna go ahead and break that bolt loose. We're gonna go ahead and get the drain pan, get it ready. And on some drain pans, they come with a cap, but of course, you have to remember the little vent right here. Pop the vent up to allow it to breathe, so when the oil comes down, it doesn't blow and splash in your face. So, go ahead and remove the old drain pan plug and let her flow. All 7 quarts. We're going to go ahead and reinstall the plug back into its proper position and then tighten her down. Remember, righty tighty, lefty loosey.
Backwards. I'm laying down. And I can't see.
And now we're going to go ahead and work on the oil filter after she's all tight.
Good and tight.
Good and tight. That's good, love. Go ahead and clean the pan off. And then reposition this once you break the oil filter loose. So the oil filter extension with the socket, of course, you can grab it with your hands and twist it off, or if it's too tight and it doesn't have a wrench head on it, you can they got a clamp at the parts store and it can actually grip around the oil filter and break it off that way. I don't really recommend you stabbing it with a screwdriver because that just causes too much of a mess. So I always jump on these filters because of that little feature at the bottom. Makes it so much easier to doing these oil filter changes, and also the better flow in oil. So get this, move that out of the way, just enough to break it loose. There you go. Now, with the oil filter, once you start spinning it, it's going to start leaking the oil that's actually in there. So you got to slowly back it off. Once it starts leaking, then allow it to drain. So we're going to go ahead and break that loose, get it to start draining, and remove the filter. Once it drops, make sure you grip it, and then slowly drop it into the catch pan. Yummy. Got the filter removed and went ahead and cleaned the surface of any dirt or debris that might get caught on a new gasket that's on your new oil filter. Went ahead and wiped everything down. Got the old filter right there. And then with the new filter, I usually recommend dipping your finger in the oil and just giving a clean pass on the gasket itself. That way it helps with you actually installing the filter and not slowing you down when tightening her up. And I just put a little bit of oil in there, kind of help with the priming. You don't really have to do it. So that's if you've driven the car, your engine's already lubricated, but because this car's been sitting, I go ahead and do it anyways. And now the new filter is ready to install. Righty tighty. I went ahead and got the new filter in place. We're gonna go ahead and just do a quick snug. You do not have to kill this filter when tightening it.
Yeah, don't do that.
Just snug it on there, because when you go to remove it again, it's gonna be really hard to remove. So you wanna at least do a quarter turn once you hit snug, you're gonna pull quarter and then you're done.
Yeah.
I think so, babe.
Are you sure?
All right, now with the oil filter in place, drain pan in place, ready to put the cover on. Again, the cover is held on by 4 screws. And on this little cover, it'll actually tell you where they actually place. Like so. See how it says 1? So 1 screw goes here, 1 screw goes there, 1 screw goes back here, and the last remaining goes right there.
There we go.
Now, of course, this is nothing more than plastic, so you don't need to torque it with massive amount of torque.
All right, Mr. Mechanic.
And so we're using actual cordless drill, and this drill actually has a little ratchet deal on the back, so you can prevent it from over torquing on the top. I recommend, being that this is nothing more than trim, to bring it down to a number 5, and that'll prevent it from over torquing. Oh yeah, she's got this.
I'm a freaking rock star right now.
Yeah.
I'm sweating balls is what I'm doing. Sorry, that's in the video.
Sweating balls, she says. That's what you call mechanic talk, ladies and gents.
Bartender talk.
And bartender talk.
Stupid hair. Yeah, get all your hair out the way. Future reference. Okay.
Alrighty, so now we got the splash guard on. We're gonna go ahead and place the jack back in its lifting points, which is in the back right here. That's on the key member. Remove both jack stands and place the car back on its tires to go ahead and put the 7 quarts of 520 motor oil. I went ahead and got the vehicle back on the floor. It's now time to go ahead and place the oil filter cap that's located on the driver's side. We're going to go ahead and remove the cap and place the funnel within the cap.
520.
And on the cap actually says 520.
Yeah.
That's manufacturer recommend weight for the 5.7 Charger. This is of course the 2016 and various other years. And again, this engine uses 7 quarts of engine oil, as that's what the manual recommends, the owner's manual.
We prefer mobile one, so I'll put that in there too.
And of course, like she just said, we do prefer Mobile One in this house, but it's your choice, whichever brand you prefer. But Mobile One is our way to go.
Buy cheap oil, you're gonna have problems that cost you a lot more money. So, campus for this.
Now with us, we like to go ahead and buy the 1 gallon jugs. On the side, it actually tells you by quart, but at the same time, it's also good to keep looking at your dipstick to ensure maximum capacity of motor oil. Because even if you hit the top of the line, because we haven't started this motor yet, we still have to fill the engine oil filter complete. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. So you got to get down here.
Ooh, I got sweat rolling down my gut right now. I'm sorry, that shouldn't be in your video either.
Sweat rolling.
It's really gross. It's just coming down my
think that's
stomach,
everything.
down on my belly button. Yeah, smidge more. Yeah, we're good. Okay. I'm sweating more now than I do at things anymore.
And you're gonna go ahead and pull the old dipstick. Actually, go ahead and push it all the way back in, and pull it all the way out, and ensure that it actually meets the top of the line. Go ahead and leave that.
Oh, that's hot. Hot. Ow. Hot.
And we are in the safe area.
I don't know if they can see that on the video or not.
So now that we are good on motor oil,
Move that rag.
we can go ahead and remove the funnel and place the cap back on. Make sure she's snug on there where it doesn't fall off. And while you have your hood open, it is safe to go ahead and check your other fluids, like your radiator coolant, your washer fluid, your transmission fluid. But right now we're just working on the motor oil, and we're gonna go ahead and start the vehicle. All right, once the oil has been changed, we can go ahead and go inside of the 2016 Dodge Charger and go to your illumination dash. On your dash, of course, you have an oil life. In this case, this one is 0%. We're here to go ahead and reset it. It says hold OK to reset, and it should bring us back to 100%. We just got done completing the motor oil, and we went ahead and reset it back to 100%.
And that's it.
And that is it. Now that the oil filter and oil has been changed on the Charger, job has been completed. If you like the video, please like it. If you want to follow us on more videos on how to do repairs and quick jobs, please subscribe. Not bad for the first oil change. Thanks for watching. With her cheesy dance. There you go, backpack boy.